Hello, everybody, and welcome to the special Friday edition of the Tracy Show. Usually, this show would have aired yesterday, but we had a schedule mix up, and this was the only day that I could do my interview. So, this is a special Friday edition of the Tracy Show. Um, Thanks to everybody that's tuning in. I know this is off of our normal schedule. We'll get back to our normal schedule next week. I've got an interview lined up. Um, I'll talk about that probably Tuesday when y'all get my notices. Anyway, before we get started, bunch of um, bills to pay. Um, Trying to get everything that kind of lined up here before I bring my guests on. Um, Subscribe to our page. I'm up to 136 now, so I'm not losing subscribers anymore. So please subscribe to my page. My goal is still 1,000. I want to get great guests. I have a great guest tonight, but I want to get more great guests, and they're not going to come on the show unless I have the numbers to kind of back that up. So please support our my page. You can also support at buymeacoffee.com/TRACYMedia LLC. And you can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And I see our guest is in, so I'm going to bring her on. Hello, how are you this evening?
I'm doing wonderful. I want to see you though, so I realize I need to put on my glasses. I do apologize. How are you?
I'm doing fine, but you may want to take the glasses off because sometimes I don't always look my best.
You look wonderful to me. I'm glad we finally got to meet.
I know I was telling my audience that this is not my normal day. My normal day to do interviews is always Thursday. So I'm like, well, this is the only day I can get. So, hey, everybody, it's Friday. So we're going to do it. I plan on asking a ton of questions. And hope you're prepared for them. We're not going to fight. You will not be the second guest I've gotten into a fight with. So we're just gonna make this as cordial as possible. So I'll have you introduce yourself first and tell everyone what office it is that you're running for.
My name is Jasmine Sherman. I am running for President of the United States.
That was quick. Usually they go into a long autobiography, but that was quick. Thank you.
I actually try to keep it concise because I find that most politicians do not answer the interviewer's questions. Anybody could Google me to see who I am, what I'm interested in, but I want to make sure I get the questions that your audience wants to hear.
So the first question right out of the bat, and we're going to get to some really off the wall things that I have to ask about because I got a chance to go to your website. Actually, I've been visiting it for a couple of weeks, so I have a ton of questions. So, first question, why this office and why now?
So I am of age. Legally, I can run for president. I was not over 35 in the last election to do so. The reason I am not running for a lower seat is we already have enough people trying in local office and not succeeding. We don't need to add one more person to the list. My goal is actually to provide change, and I won't get there with city council or local government at this time.
Okay, so now we're going to get into, well, it kind of goes back to the first question I asked. I'm going to guess you're 35 now, obviously, because you're running for president. So some of us in the audience are a little older, but that's okay. But what made you decide at such a young age, because you're at least what?
I'm 38. Yeah, on August 22nd, I turned 38. Yes.
You're way behind me in the years. I mean, I'm old enough to be, no, not your mother, probably older sister.
Okay.
I'm in that age range. I'm in that Gen X range. So, what made you decide, you know what, if it's not now, it's never?
So the reason that I'm doing this now is because I'm finally old enough. And the reason there's no reason to wait. Like, I want to serve my country and I legally can do so. I have worked really hard with the team of people that we were able to assemble to do this. I do not believe that politics is something that a person my age shouldn't get into, considering the ages of the original founding fathers. I am on par with them. It is more unnatural for our leaders to be 70 and 80.
And sometimes 90 that are 90. But that's okay. We're not here to throw shade, but the truth is life. Um so the first question I definitely want to get to is, I said I was going to say this, but I'm going to get to it now. So, I have been on a rant. I started this podcast because I'm just done with the duopoly. I'm done with it. It makes no sense. It doesn't work. Getting that message out to the public, though, is very frustrating. I have I had contemplated running for office, but I realized, you know what? No, it can't happen, for several different reasons. Um, don't look at me like that. Don't look at me
You
like that.
have to, though, because that's the reason
No,
nobody
because
runs for
you
office.
know
There's
why?
always a
It's
reason.
my mouth. My
My
mouth.
mouth. I tell
No,
people,
my
you
mouth will get me
I
in trouble.
my mouth not
No,
only gets me in trouble, my mouth gets me into fights, like physical altercations. You're not gonna
no,
talk to me any kind of way. The
no.
difference. So let's talk about, if we're gonna be political. If I'm Meg, can we be honest on this
Yes, we
program?
can totally be
Okay.
honest.
Then this whole thing about respectability politics, if you look at our history, we had duels. We had fisticuffs on the House floor and on the Senate floor. All this, we got to go along to get along and be nice to each other, is new nonsense. Not that we need to be beating each other over the head, but all this, my mouth, my behavior. You are an American. And if we look at how this country was founded and who those individuals were, your mouth is exactly what we need.
No. I'm
Yes.
saying no, because see, you don't know me. When I
Yeah.
say my family, they will tell you most of the time it's hard for me to control what comes out of my mouth.
Like an impulse control issue, or like you just
No,
want to
it's
say what you want to say?
I just want to say what I want to say, but then I'm like,
Donald Trump was the president. Like, this is
I
what I'm talking.
know,
This,
but
maybe this is an age break, right? A generational gap. But Donald Trump was your president. There is no threshold that I need to meet. He was your president. They
I
elected
know,
him.
but see,
People
for
like this is what I'm saying. People, if we're going to be honest and keep with tradition, loudmouth people, Alexander Hamilton, were the people that made moves in this country that were great. Being passive, being nice, being Alan Burr doesn't really get you very far in history or with the goals you're trying to accomplish.
yeah, but see,
Well, I'll say it like this, because
I
you
never
won't.
will go. I never will go along to get along. But I say
Because y'all
my
won't. People like me have to. So maybe I'll
yeah,
say it like that. Because y'all won't.
yes,
People like me have to.
yeah. And the other reason why I won't run is I don't. And this is definitely a question. When you get elected, and I'm gonna use the squad as an example. You get there, and then somehow you forget where you came from.
Which is why I didn't run for local office, because they
And I'm like,
pervert
what,
you.
what happened between the time when you were an activist and the time you got something happened?
You
I don't
got
know what
to
it was.
you built a relationship with the bad guy. You got to be, well, we're the lesser of two evils, right? And that's why you didn't need me to run for Congress or the Senate, because you don't need someone like me to intermingle and be tainted.
Yeah, I'll think about it, but I'm just like, I don't. And nothing. I don't think I'm smart enough to do it. I'm just like, you know what?
George Bush was a C student. Again, history is
See, but
not
he
on
was
your
a C
side.
student. I was
With
maybe a
a
C
coke problem, a C
minus.
student with a nose candy problem.
Oh, well, I didn't have a nose candy. I didn't
Look
have
at you,
that.
you already ahead. You kept the candy out your nose. You
No,
can be
I
president.
did that. I did too. But I think one of my frustrations is working from the outside, and I'm trying to educate people. Like, hey, I don't care who you vote for. Vote for who you vote, but do not vote for the Democrat and do not vote for Republican because they don't have your best interest in mind. You're
I'm glad you brought
campaigning.
that up
You're
because
yeah, you're campaigning. How do you get around that? Because I'm just almost like, okay, just vote, and when they get in and don't do anything, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about
I cuss people
it.
out. So I cuss people out. I talk to them because that's the difference. I'm not a politician. I'm a regular person
Now, wait a minute.
seeking
Speaking
your
of the
vote.
cussing, you do know I have the no cussing rule on my platform.
I do now.
I do. I do have the no cussing platform.
So see, you are already a step ahead of me because if I curse on the house floor, I'm gonna get fined. You got the good sense not to curse.
But still, I'm just that argument. It's just like, wait a minute, people. I want you to sit down and think about it. When you're talking to a person,
I had
or
to get
you're
ballot access in the state of Mississippi, the
and you're
poorest, most
yeah,
ignorant
and
state.
you're also getting ballot access in my state, Indiana. But we're going to talk about that ballot access in a moment. But when you're talking to people about, like now you're in the petition gathering stage. And of course, you say, well, what I've been telling people is, hey, you don't necessarily have to vote for this person. We just want to get them on the ballot. Obviously, that's not your goal. Your
I cuss
goal,
people out though. Like the method that you're talking about, it may be nice, it may work for you, but I have had to cuss people out. It's much easier that way.
wow.
I'm serious.
That's the most real answer I think I've ever gotten. I
Because
mean,
no, but I'm serious. Like people are tired of politicians. People are tired of lies. If you're not gonna mess with me let you know that right away. In Mississippi, we weren't allowed to hold the ballots, but we still had to go to trailer parks and knock on doors with the volunteers we had, right? So we get to this one trailer, Confederate flag, bold and proud. We still gonna knock on that door because they're an American citizen. He came to the door and let me have all kinds of additional names to my person. But once I was like, "Are you done?" and a couple of other superlatives in response, I explained what we were here for, how we could help him not live like this. And he was like, "You know what? To get you to go away, we're going to sign your form." And we got all six of the people in that trailer.
that's what I think it takes. That's exactly what I don't have. And that's the other reason I won't. You tell me no, okay, I'm done. That's it. Because I feel like, and this is not about me, audience. I'm really gonna ask Jasmine some questions. But I feel like when you say I'm gonna vote for Biden because he's not Trump, that's the argument I hear all the time, but you're still going to get the same system. So what I want you to do is when you complain about something, I'm going to remind you of what you put in office because I basically don't want to hear it anymore. I'm tired. You had a chance. You had a chance to go out there and vote for Jasmine or whomever third party candidate, and you just said, nope. I'm scared of this one man so much. I'm just gonna vote for
The other bad man.
the other bad man. And
So I want to explain though, like I told you, I cussed him out. Like you got like so I heard his no, I'm not interested. And that was fine. But I still had to respond to the other superlatives. That's what I'm saying. I don't take the high road here. That's not who I am. I'm an American. I'm here to get my
so when
living.
they go low, you go lower.
When they go low, I talk about their dead mama. You dead right? You dang
Oh,
right. I am here. No,
wow. Okay.
I am here to apply for a job filled by war criminals, white supremacists, racist, rapists. I don't have the luxury of playing uh puss in boots with these people. We need to have real conversations about what's really going on in this country. And I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to either A, make you mad enough that you vote against me, B, make you mad enough that you remember who I am, or C, get the police called. And that's happened a couple of times as well.
Okay. So here comes my next question. When you first thought, you know what, skip governor, skip mayor, skip city council, skip dog catcher. I'm gonna run for president of the United States because I can. What was the first step that you took to assemble your team? And how did you know? Follow question. How did you know or identify the traits that you wanted on your team?
The only traits I looked for was you could read, you had an ID to prove you were an American, and you wanted to do this. This is everyone's country. My team is not assembled of people who are specialized. They're Americans who live in this country and have fields of interest or degrees that relate to the fields of study that we did. So I took to the internet. I went to social media. I said, I'm running for president. These are the things I want to accomplish. I need a team. And TikTok, Facebook, Reddit, They delivered. Over 300 people have had their hands in this campaign.
And I do want to talk about your fundraising. I heard about that and I'm like, this can't be serious. So I'm definitely going to ask about that. I wrote down a note, ask about the fundraising because
Okay,
I want to.
what am I doing differently in
No,
fundraising?
you know the question I'm going to ask, but I'm like,
I don't, but I'm waiting.
it's it's about the fried chicken fundraisers.
Yeah, we feed
So
people.
yeah, but see, I want to push that off till later because I want to get to the more serious substance things. So I will ask. I ask every candidate this, no matter what office they're running for. In your case, there are over 100 people running for president. I'm not going to ask you to talk about all 100. We don't have that amount of time. But I do want you to talk about what's the difference between yourself, Biden, and we might as well just say Trump because nobody else has a chance of winning the nomination.
The difference between me and those individuals is I don't look anything like those individuals. I'm a lot younger and smarter than those individuals. And before anyone goes, that's a lot of hubris. Everybody knows the younger people have access to technology, information, data banks faster than some people who are older. We already understand that it is a lot of work for a third party candidate to get the attention of anybody. So the fact that at my little age I have come this far and done this much isn't a testament to how smart I am, how determined I am. But more importantly, I am in it with you. Unlike the other candidates, I'm one, going to live to see through all of my ideas and plans. And two, I am from you, one of you, and not trying to be like the establishment. None of my policies are about sentiments or ideas. They're concrete plans, tangible step one, two, and three. And every plan tells you how I pay for it. Those individuals have each had their turn in power and delivered nothing to us. And that's the difference.
Yeah, and now you got me onto policy. So one of the things that struck me about your platform, one of your platform ideas was to get rid of Social Security and replace it with, and please, if I'm getting this wrong, just correct me, universal base income.
Yes.
I got that right. Okay, so
Universal basic income. Yep.
can you explain one, how, because seniors here, oh no, they're getting rid of my Social Security, it's gone. How, one, how you're going to pay for it, two, how you're going to implement it, and three, how you're going to communicate to people that, hey, I'm taking this away, but I'm giving you this.
So, luckily for me, we have done a lot of campaigning in red states, and Republicans already want to cut Social Security without a safety net. So we're not leaving senior citizens on the hook. What we are doing is we are ending the funding mechanism for Social Security as it comes through younger people's paychecks and instead funding it through tangible works of the government. So we will be closing down a couple of wasteful programs like the FBI, the CIA, stopping Congress people from being able to get new furniture with money. There's a long list on each policy about how it works, but specifically, Social Security, we are not cutting disability Social Security. So if you are disabled, you will still receive that money from your fellow Americans, how that is funded. However, with universal basic income, it is just moving the pots around. So it's a larger lump sum than you currently get on Social Security. But please note, in the Sherman administration, you would not be paying for housing or utilities either, not even property tax. So that larger lump sum will add more cushion and financial freedom to people.
And we got a guest finally. Yay. Hello, Mac. How are you? But Mac, that's why we're here, so we can listen to Jasmine and hear the ideas that she has. And we already told Jasmine that she can't curse, so you can't do that. So
I do use they, them pronouns though. And one of the things that I would tell older members of your audience is you have to hope that there are more young people who don't want the programs that I'm talking about.
that I can see where you're going with that.
Yeah, the census was very accurate and up to date. It's more about making sure that we take care of our elderly and not abuse them and provide them with resources that they currently do not have and they have gotten accustomed to the idea of not having them.
Right. And I think keep in mind this, Mac, and you know, Mac, I love you because you're one who comes in a lot. Currently, under the current system, most people on Social Security, they pay for their own Medicare Part A and B out of that same check that keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So if she's talking about, she's talking about something that'll give more, at least we could do is hear it. But that's what we're here for. So I wanted to talk about another idea of yours, and you just got into it. You said that people would not be paying property taxes nor utilities.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where I sort of kind of have a problem with that. I think it's a fantastic idea because ultimately, I don't want to see people getting their utilities cut off. It's happened to me, and I don't want to see it happen to somebody else. It's a terrible thing in the winter to try to gather. I don't know where you live at, but I live in Indiana, and it's just cold. It gets cold in the winter. To get this, that, and the other to try to keep warm. The need to make that a federal issue where I would think it's more of a state issue. I would think that would be more of a state issue as opposed to a federal issue. Can you talk about why you're making it a federal issue in terms of, like I said, I think the idea is
When
fantastic.
electricity was first established, who paid for it? It was not the states. We pushed those responsibility on to state governments, but it wasn't our state governments that handled that. That negotiation was done by the federal government with large corporations and private families to fund that, not states. I'm trying to do things that are more historically accurate with what we have done. And there are already states in America that have public utilities.
We say we do, but I'm like, you let them raise the utility bill every single year. Are you really there for the public? So we say we have a public utility, but I'm like, you miss me with that. And the other idea that you had was that no one pays property taxes.
Correct.
Now, of course, I live in a state where property taxes are used to fund schools. Where would the school, let's just suppose you live in Indiana, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure other states do this too. They use their property taxes to fund school.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the funding from schools coming from?
Right. And so that's the problem because we do use property tax. Alabama's got one type of education, Mississippi has one type of education, Boston, California, they all have their own types of education because money comes from property tax. What we want to do is eliminate federal funding education through states and fund it federally so we can have a consistent quality education nationwide. So
So are
that
you
money.
okay? I didn't mean to interrupt you. You go ahead.
No. So, I mean, basically, you would no longer pay property tax. The money would come from the federal government. And again, I explained we would close certain agencies to accommodate for that cost.
And you're talking about again closing the FBI,
FBI, CIA,
CIA,
NSA. And again, these are all sentiments shared by Republicans already.
and
So,
the NSA.
libertarian, I'm
I'm
sorry.
trying to think of NSA. I'm sorry. I'm like, what is NSA?
So, the NSA
Nationals.
is that organization that listens to your phone calls. They are the
Oh,
organization that
that's
came
right. Thank
out.
you. I was like, wait a minute. I know
They
what this
they
is.
are the organization that came out after the Patriot Act. There are other organizations we have. We have an organization that helps people with disabilities finds jobs. But like that's not a program that we need anymore because we have Career Builder and other specialized technology sites. There are other programs that already things have already come and absorbed that need. So there are a lot of wasteful spending that we have in our government.
Okay, so that answered that question, but here comes the other question. So you're eliminating property taxes. Are you talking about the elimination of other types of taxes?
We are, and my tax policy is huge, but it is already posted on my website with an audio version if people don't have time to read it. Once they listen to it or read it, I would suggest that they schedule a meeting to meet with me or my team to go over it in detail because people have many different tax situations. But I am talking about cutting other taxes as well. The
Oh,
idea of doing your taxes would change in a Sherman administration. You would get your money back 4 times a year. quarterly, not one time at the end of the year. It wouldn't even require you to do your own taxes. We would do what other countries do and let your employer, who's already doing the taxes and reporting out on you, do the taxes.
So here's my question in terms of that. So um, when you're talking about eliminating taxes, that sounds usually when you hear a politician say that, they mean, tax cuts for the upper 1%, and then the rest of us, we get stuck with whatever it is, we get stuck holding the bag per se. What assurances can you give to your potential supporters that you won't follow that same line of reasoning?
Well, for one, my tax policy is already posted. Before I ask you to vote for me, you can see what your brackets are. You can see what you would make, what it would cost you. Unlike other politicians, I'm not giving you sentiments. I'm giving you concrete, diagrammed plans. So you could see in black and white what it is, where you would fall. That is the main thing. The second thing is, unlike other politicians, I simplify the tax code. You're not getting to file as a household anymore. You're filing as a single individual, and you're getting your money back directly.
That understood. So when, because I'm still on this taxes thing, did you say that so you're not talking about getting rid of the IRS?
No, I believe the American public supported wholeheartedly the 83,000 individuals that Joe Biden decided we needed.
Now, that never did get cut.
I know that that's the number that they did the polling on, and I have the data to support the public's response
Oh,
to
yeah, I
the
understand. I was like,
I
yeah, that
can't
number
speak
did cut.
to I try not to speak to things I can't A, prove, or B, deliver a source for. And so the source I have is about the 83,000 IRS members.
I understand. So there's a couple of issues I always ask all of my candidates about, no matter whether I've had the most libertarian, I've had the most left socialist person, and I ask the same questions. And particularly, if I can pronounce that word right, I tend to ask I don't want to say my African American, but I tend to ask black guests, because Trump said that. I'm like, we are not yours.
I mean, Joe
No,
Biden also said, if you don't vote for him, you're not black. I'm actually a
no,
black
but what
person. I
happened?
feel
I
the
think
most qualified to answer this question.
um please don't ever bring that comment up to me, because I complained about that. And my cousin was like, he just got too familiar. I'm like, you're defending this? If Trump had said the same thing, you would have blew up. And it just, but we're not here to talk about that. So we're going to talk about these issues. And the number one thing, if you know anything about my page, I have one issue I absolutely, positively care about, and that's Medicare for all. I am for it. Nobody's going to talk me down from it. Nobody's going to say anything against it. I mean,
Well,
you can say something against it.
I've expanded it.
Yeah,
I'm
so
to
no,
every
because I've had politicians say they're not for it because it costs too much, et cetera, et cetera, et
The
cetera.
Congressional Budget Office has already delivered in 2022 that it is cheaper to fund health care for everyone this way. We have data to support it. That argument is no longer valid. It is cheaper to do a single payer health care. I support, and on my website, we give you Medicare Part A, Part B, Part C, D. We expand it to include dental, vision, holistic care, including doulas and shamans and things like that, and alternative medicines, because your prescriptions are covered as well, including cannabis and some alternative medicines that are a little bit more spicy.
At what type of cost?
That's zero cost to you.
Okay, I knew that, but everybody hasn't been to your website. So I'm like, okay, because no, some people will say I'm for it, but then they'll say, well, the insurance companies will do this, and then I'm like, no, okay.
We've
And
gone
that's what I
even
said.
better.
I've been to your site, and this show tends to get watched after it airs. So we'll get comments streaming in 6 and 7 days later. So remember, I've been to your website several times.
I just want people.
Everybody out there has not.
I want people to know quickly, because you're going to get somebody's like, I don't want Medicare. Other countries are waiting. We've included in my website a timeline graph of the wait times currently with other countries who have universal health care in comparison with our current health care today. That is a graph that's in there. It's an Easter egg. It's a link. I think it's purple now. It used to be yellow. People couldn't see it. So it is in there. It tells you also again where the money's coming from. That is another spreadsheet with more programs. But what we do is we eliminate the competition, because what people are talking about is doctors go with private insurances. We eliminate big pharma, big insurances, and doctors have to either work for the government or not be doctors. We have to provide people with quality care. My Medicaid expansion goes further than anyone else because we put safe use facilities in every zip code. We put a medical facility in every zip code, not an urgent care, an actual quality hospital so you can get care, including dental work in the ER if you need it, like other countries already have. Sorry,
And
I'm
I,
excited about healthcare. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
absolutely. And I am going to make another note to talk about your platform for people with disabilities because I thought that was
I got them
outstanding.
too.
I really want you to talk about that, but not now because I'm getting to my other issues. So another issue that I care about, deeply care about, not that I'm paying on no student loan debt.
Okay, in a Sherman administration, gone. And like not just gone like what Joe Biden did, an unconstitutional gone. I mean a constitutional gone for everyone, not trying to nickel and dime, not trying to get a couple of pennies for big corporations. I mean gone. And we are going to promote free education for all grade levels, PhD, masters. We have talked to stupid people today, and I don't even know everyone in here to know you talked to somebody stupid. We have to expand our education. We've got to reduce our classroom size and switch over to a Montessori system. So in my plan, we go to a maximum of 18 students per classroom, 2 teachers in every classroom. We bring back blue collar education into the classroom instead of differentiating. Everyone needs to know how to plumb a toilet. Everyone needs to know electrical work. We start making sure all of our citizens have the things that they need to keep themselves safe and independent. But yes, free college. I'm sorry. And
Yes.
a pay raise for teachers and all staff in the schools.
So for us that are currently in student loan debt, what? And again, remember I've been on your website, but talk to those who, like me, have literally they borrowed $30,000 and now they owe $100,000.
It'll go to zero. I mean, like the government is going to cover your debt. Of course, like all negotiations and all corporations for pennies on the dollar. And because that is the federal established status quo on how we do business, it's not going to be disproved by the Supreme Court or be overruled. We currently already do things like this in terms of buying. We just don't have politicians that want to do the thing.
Yeah. Now you did talk about something that, um, if I'm honest, because I'm definitely anti capital punishment. I don't believe in it. I think it's wasteful. I think potentially innocent people could be executed. But I want you to talk because I don't put words in people's mouths.
Of course.
I want you to talk about your stance on the whole issue of capital punishment. How did you come to that stand and what do you actually propose to do about that?
So I came to that stance after I got shot twice. That stance, after you've been pierced by a weapon, it makes you rethink things. Now, luckily, I got shot by the police, so I'm here today to talk about it. However, in regard to my death penalty punishment, I have also been in 3 mass shootings. I have also experienced being around 9/11, the Boston Marathon. So I do believe that if we get to a place where we provide for all of people's basic needs, and they still are not able to function within society, I do think that prison is cruel and we shouldn't have it. If you are someone that has taken multiple lives, I don't think that it's good that your life get to go on. However, I am pursuing the Green Party's nomination, and they are anti-death penalty. So should I receive their nomination, that policy, the death penalty, will most likely go away. I do not have the same opinions on capital punishment as other people. And I would like to be transparent. I am running for president. If a war broke out, if a situation happened, I would have to be willing to consider some type of fatal punishment for individuals. So I'm not going to pretend or lie to you and say that I have an issue with the death penalty. Um, but I will admit I have an issue the way it is facilitated today and the fact that there's a lot of racism. But I don't want to lie about where I stand personally. But there
And
is
not to put words in your mouth, if I'm understanding this right, you're saying you're pro capital punishment in extreme situations.
yes.
Okay,
However,
understand. Yes.
however, I am running for president, and the parties that promote me are not for capital punishment.
Understand.
Um,
Yeah, I know the Green
but
Party is not.
I do not want it to be a gotcha moment where I'm on Fox News and someone goes, "Did y'all know?" People will say, "Yeah, we know," but at least they'll know. The same way I call myself a fat socialist. This is who I am. I'm being transparent, and I'll let the American public decide what they want to do with that information.
And so I said I was going to get, no, I'm still going to get to the disability work later because I think that's your strongest platform. If I'm just being 100% honest, because one, I haven't heard any other candidate talk about it, discuss it, address it. And the way you address it, it made a lot of sense to me. So I want to kind of save that for the last part. So the next issue, because I keep saying, no, I want to ask it now. I'm not going to ask it now. So we've talked about education. We've talked about Medicare for all. So there's another issue that I haven't asked anybody, and you'll be the first politician I ask. Ukraine has asked, is scheduled to get another $325 million.
Our proxy war.
Yes, some people are calling it that. However, the people of Hawaii are getting $700, not individually, which isn't enough, but the entire household is getting $700 one time.
You're correct. I
Uh,
made a big video about it, how pissed I was.
Um, some people don't see a problem with that. As a matter of fact, I did a video where I was talking about one candidate, and yes, I'm going to call her name, Senator Duckworth of Illinois, said that she wasn't, because someone realized, $700 really isn't enough for these people to make it. Let's, give some more to them. And she said that she and several other senators who say said if Ukraine didn't get increased funding, this bill to help Hawaii isn't going to help. And here's where my question comes in. Can you talk briefly about foreign responsibility versus the need to put Americans first?
Yes. I
I,
can't.
I get
Um,
all the way around that question, but I had to kind of give my example to kind of say, okay, this is what I'm talking about.
okay. So, first of all, my foreign policy is also posted, which you know because you've been to the website.
Yes.
But we would, if I was in power right now, we would be giving Ukrainians food. We would be giving Ukrainians supplies to sustain their basic human needs. We would not be providing weapons. We would not be facilitating proxy wars. Now, they are being loaned these large sums of money that they have historically not been able to pay back since they have been loaned money by other governments. So that money is a situation where we are not going to put Americans first. If I was in power, we would not be providing them with loan money. We would not be providing them with weapons. We would again be providing food and things to sustain their basic needs. And we would offer people passage if they wanted to come to America. We would not be doing any more than that. We cannot afford to keep putting other nations before Americans. We cannot afford to worry about starving children in countries where when we have starving children right here. So that would be my priority and my shift. I'm willing to feed everybody, willing to clothe everybody, willing to offer everybody shelter, but I'm not willing to write any more checks that we can't afford.
Okay, so now I'm going to turn this argument upside down. So you have some people arguing for more funding because they'll say, well, if Ukraine can't defend themselves against Russia, then Russia's going to take, they'll kind of keep expanding more territory that they'll want and they'll want and they'll want.
May I be candid again?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I don't think the United I'm sorry, I don't think NATO is helping our country. I think NATO is another money grab that the Americans are paying out and we can't afford. But as I said, I am not a pacifist. I do support protecting Americans. And if America really wanted to handle our Russian problem, we would do so. We had no problem doing it when the dictator or leader is brown. For some reason, though, we have an issue with this one man. But I would treat him like America's historical record when it comes to somebody that violates the sanctity of America without saying anything too crass.
You really, I want to give you such props. You're really trying here.
I'm trying. I'd have cursed 30 minutes ago if it wasn't for the fact that I'm trying to behave.
Okay, so we have some comments, and I'm not going to ask you to comment on them, but I'm just going to read them and then move on because there's a couple more issues I want to get to. So Max says, so the common taxpayers don't have to pay property taxes, but they do have to pay the taxes that goes to space colonies on Mars for future space tourism industry and corporate muggles. Sounds like bait and switch. No thanks.
If I could respond, who said that? Like, I'm just saying, like, so this is a problem we have in America. Our education system is lacking in that we don't give people critical thinking. In regard to space colonies, neither you nor I talked about NASA or space exploration. What I did say was people should go read or have my tax policy read to them to know where the money's going and how it is going to be collected. But I am the only politician who has a program policy that provides for the middle class instead of taking away from the middle class. But if you are someone who is worried about space and space rangers, then by all means, please vote for the candidate that best aligns with your values.
Next comment. So forcing doctors to work for the government or not to work at all wouldn't stand the test of the Supreme Court. That law would just get struck down on day one. That I do want you to respond to.
Of course. So let's talk about that. Luckily, in the United States, we have given presidential powers the ability to take an industry or a company and nationalize it. I'm not saying that anyone has to do anything they don't want to, but in the same vein of hospitals had the legal right to say, if you are not vaccinated, you cannot work here, is the same way that we have the legal authority to regulate, nationalize hospitals and private healthcare facilities. Anyone who does not want to be a doctor does not have to be. We have already come up with a plan to use our military surplus medical professionals to absorb the blow should so many doctors decide that they no longer care about keeping their Hippocratic oath and would like to leave. I would also add we are going to be expanding the Supreme Court, and the data is on my side.
So here, this question I'm going to answer. So Parker wants to know what third party she's running with. She's under the Unicorn Party and the Green. She has found her own party, the Unicorn Party. See, I did tell you I read the website, and she's running for the Green Party nomination. So there.
And I still use they them pronouns.
That's good. I'll just say it that way. So here comes the next issue, and this you may want to talk about at length, and I don't know how you feel about this. But the one thing that I am frustrated with in terms of third-party candidates, they run and they don't want to win. And I don't know why that annoys me to the uttermost, but it really does. They're running for an issue, and my thought is always, like, Medicare for all is my issue. If I'm going to run, I'm running to win so that I can implement Medicare for all. But
it's kind of why someone chooses to run for president instead of city council, so they can win. So historically, we have found people have not wanted to win. You are correct.
Yes, and I don't know where what I was going to ask, and I didn't mean to cut you off. Obviously, you're coming off as a person who takes away that whole a third party can't win argument, which I can tell you, just being honest, I greatly appreciate that. Because I hear and I did a whole lengthy video last week about the top 5 dumbest things that people say in terms of not voting for a third party. I'm not going to go into them because I know your time is limited and you don't want to hear me going off on a rant. But talk about why it's important for you to run to win as opposed to running to raise an issue.
Yeah, because this is too much hard work. I have to talk to regular Americans. And not to be funny, a lot of them are not as classy or polite or as kind as you are. This is not something that I am doing on a lark. However, older people, and I have to go by the data, have run to waste people's time. That's the generation before me. That's not me or my generation.
That
It's
would be
older.
my generation. You
Correct.
talking Generation X?
A Generation X, boomers, this whole
Yeah,
concept
you're
of
talking about mine.
respectability
See, I'm going to
politics.
take offense to that because I'm in Generation X.
But the data, we're talking about data. I'm
That's true.
38. I could not legally run for office. Your generation is the generation that wasted time, or the generation before that. Those are the generations that half ran for office. Those are the generations that instead of wanting to go out, be different, be themselves, deal with the pushback, decided to be Democrat light or Republican light. And so it is somewhat uncomfortable to have to answer for an age group that I'm not a part of, especially as that age group is the most resistant to change that would benefit them. But I can't speak to why they chose to take half measures, but I can say that I'm trying to win. My political party is trying to win. If the Green Party does not decide that they want to win, and I've gone on record publicly saying this, then we will go without them and win, because I have a generation of people that are depending on me and other people who are like minded in my age group to not talk about it, but to actually be about it. And so, no, we are not doing this on a lark. We're not like this is far too much work. And we talk to far too many ignorant individuals for this to be something we just do. If that answers your question.
That answers my question. And here comes the follow up question. So, when you're running for office, no, I'm going to go. See, I said I wasn't going to do this, but I am. There's one misnomer that I definitely want you to address. And I always like to do my interviews because I'm not formal. I'm very conversational, if you all can't tell, because my audience kind of knows this. Um, I like to have conversations as opposed to, let me ask you this question, this question, this question, this question. There is one, I mentioned that I did a video about my top 5 things that annoy me about what people say about third parties. And there's 2 of them. I'm not going to have you talk about one. One is now is not the time, people. They irritate me. I don't want to say I don't like them because my faith says that I'm to love everybody. That's what my faith says. That's what my Lord tells me to do. So I'm going to do it. That don't mean I got to like you, but that does mean I have a responsibility to love you. That one we won't talk about. But I do want to talk about this one. A vote for Jasmine Sherman is a vote for Donald Trump, and I'll let you have the floor.
So, first of all, I appreciate that people are concerned about my chances against a man with more than 36 indictments. I appreciate that
91.
people not that is still more than 36.
I know, but I was just like, I had to put that because people think I'm a Trump supporter, so I have to put that 91 out there.
No, that's fair. So I just want to say again, those people, I'm not worried about those people. My group, my entity, the people who are participating in what we're doing, we're not even really talking to Democrats or Republicans. We're talking to people who do not vote, period. So I don't see how me bringing new people into the voting block is a vote for Donald Trump, since I was the one that brought them there. I also would say that those Taylor Swift votes of people who, I think they were signing up 13,000 per hour yesterday, were not signing up to vote for Joe Biden, nor were they signing up to vote for Donald Trump. They're signing up to vote for younger politicians. But what I will try to wrap up nicely is the goal of being a spoiler, the concept of doing something against the duopoly. My generation is here for it. The technology is here, and we are using it to get our voice out. The staff that I have found them through technology. The outreach that we've had found them through technology. Yes, we are going to have to do a couple of door knocks. That's a real thing. But we are going to continue doing things differently than the other people, because that's how you win, not following a playbook. That's not winning.
And Parker has this question, which I want you to answer.
Yes, I am going to primary and beat Dr. Cornel West. That's the goal. And if I don't, I'm still with the Unicorn Party going to pursue all 50 state ballots. This is a real plan that has to really occur, not sentiments.
And I said I wasn't going to talk about now is not the
Can I
time.
say one more thing about the Dr. Cornel West thing, though?
Yes, go
So
ahead.
far, I am the only candidate that's the closest to meeting Green Party standards to be their candidate. The only reason that people are talking about Cornel West is because he's famous. If he was a regular person, you wouldn't be talking about him. The work ethic that his campaign has put in, you wouldn't be talking about it. But because he's famous, you're talking about it. The problem with political parties is they're vehicles to help people get elected. The problem is they don't look for talent or people who are working in their communities. They look for famous people to carry the torch because they're lazy.
And that goes to my next question. So, you talked about, and we're moving, like I said, we definitely are moving to ballot access because I'm not going to go on my now is not the time rant. Trust me, I spent 1 hour and 30 minutes going off on just that one because it really annoys me because I'm like, you're not telling me when is the time? Like,
So
what's the
people,
date?
just
What
to
time
address
is it?
that, when people talk about, so the big thing I get back in my community is they want revolution, they want war, they want violence in the street. So I'm saying, when's the day, what date and time, so I can make sure people with disabilities are comforted, children and food, that kind of thing is taken care of. But when people say now is not the time, I do not defer to people who miss their opportunity to liberate me or my people for any kind of advice on how I liberate me or my people. Anybody who is over the age of 35 and did not sign up to run for office, is not participating in activism in their community, is not someone that I'm going to even waste my time listening to. I don't take advice from people that have never tried.
So we should end it. Oh, no, I'm active in my community. I'm like, but I don't see. But the reason
But
is,
you're doing activism. You are consistently educating your community. We know who I'm talking about. People who like to be armchair activists, people with a lot to say and don't even know who the dog catcher is in their town. I've met those people. Anybody who is over the age of 50 and has not served their country in some way, shape, or form does not get to tell me anything on how I choose to serve my country. They've never bothered. They only have something to say about the work that I'm doing, not work that they've done or contributed. And if more people had done work, I probably wouldn't have to run for president at 38.
oh, we got a new person in here. Hello, Stanley. Stanley is one of my Buy Me a Coffee supporters. Thank you and so is Parker. Thank you for coming in. Awesome. Can you detail the battle plan? We're not gonna do that.
I don't know when they say detailed battle plan, I don't know what they're
Yeah, that's
referring
what.
to. Because every plan and policy that I have is on jasminesherman.com. Please go take a look at it. And if
Yeah.
you don't have time to read it, it'll read it to you.
I think this is where you and Dr. West agree that you both want to get rid of NATO. I'm just assuming you
NATO
want to.
costs us too much money for
Yeah, I'm
very little.
assuming. Like I think they both. I don't like to put words into people's mouths, but I do. Again, I definitely want to move into ballot access. So, what is your goal? Now, some candidates have a goal to get on the ballot in
50
13
states.
states. Okay, so
50 states.
you said all 50 states.
Yeah.
You
I'm
have to.
sorry. That's the only way you can win. You have to be on all 50 states to win.
And we're gonna include Puerto Rico, Guam, and all the territories. We're gonna just include them.
We have
Obviously,
already emailed them introduction packets about who I am and how we plan to get their vote.
um, I'm gonna answer Parker's question because he has a question about because I happen to be um in the Green Party, so I can answer that question that Parker has. I'll answer your question, Parker. I promise. But so your goal is to get on in all 50 states, and you're heading to. I think you've reached out to our group in Indiana to get people to gather signatures for you. Are you like? Do you yourself travel to get those signatures
Mm-hmm.
in some cases, or are you just like, no, I'm gonna stay in. I don't know what
No,
state you live in.
I have a tour bus that I have been living on. I just got back from New York, the march to end fossil fuels. I am moving around this country, going to things. We are We have an active tour schedule. We are actively going out and meeting people in states where I'm allowed to participate in the collection of signatures. I am on the ground.
And that's the other thing I want to talk about to the people that are thinking about running. Of course, a fire engine comes. This is what
We don't
happened.
hear it. Just so you know, we don't hear it. Well, now we
Oh,
do. Hey,
yeah,
now
now
we
we do. I live across the street from a fire station, like right across the street, and I'm like, okay, here it comes again. Um, oh, when what states are you? I know you said all 50, but what states are you hitting first? What states are you putting on the back end?
So we
Or is
hit
it
red
just
states first.
everybody in every state?
No, we hit red states first. The states we thought would say no first, the states we trying to get. Now, I will be honest, I have employees that do this. I'm not managing that part of my campaign. But you are more than welcome. If you have questions about it, to schedule a meeting with me or my staff. You can send an email. You can schedule at jasminesherman.com or email at official account at fatsocialist.com, and we will make time to meet with you. But yeah, we went to the states where we thought we would have the largest problems first. Florida was the first state that said yes, followed by Mississippi, and then like it just kept falling into place. We went to where we could be combative.
And so when you're out getting these signatures, and every state has
Different rules.
different rules. I always just say make people pay a fee, put it on there, you get on the ballot. But that's just me. Talk because let me think about my question here. Indiana, the state that I live in, that's the only state I can talk about. I don't know what other states do. We have the most restrictive voting characteristics that we have to come up with. First, we have to come up with 37,000 signatures. We know the Indiana Board of Elections is super petty. They will throw out signatures because you forgot to dot your I. They will the Democrats and Republicans will go to court after they verified and said this isn't valid. What plan do you have to kind of conquer the petition pushback or the signature pushback that you could
And
get?
unfortunately, I can't tell you on the air because as soon as I tell you my plan, I now need a new one. I apologize, but ballot access strategy is something that
But
we are
you do
keeping.
have a strategy in
Yeah.
place.
Yes, we
Okay.
do. Yes, we do.
Just
Yes.
because I think that's such a when you're out. And I did, like I said, I did a whole video last week about my gathering signatures. My legs hurt, my back hurt, my hurt, everything hurt. But you have to like almost say in your mind, my goal is 7,500, and if I get anywhere near
We go
that,
3 times. We try to get over 3 times the
yeah,
signature
my
requirement.
personal goal was 7,500, but I think I could actually do 25. Our state goal is what 75,000, so they can't say we're gonna throw you out because we'll
Right.
have like the backup plan. But
And I hope y'all have people actively at all the Renaissance concerts, getting them to register to vote, getting them to sign up. Like that's what I would suggest all Green parties do is send people to things where young people are eager to sign things.
yeah, Stanley has a question. Wait a minute. Parker has a question. We got some questions in the comment section that I got to get to. So Parker, and I said I would answer this question, but I'm gonna lie. Since you're the actual candidate, I will let you answer um, how the Green Party, because I know this one, but I'll let you answer how does the Green Party pick their candidate for president?
It depends on which Green Party you're speaking to. The National Green Party Presidential Candidate Selection Board has one set of goals and policies and rules, and the local each get to do something different. And so, unfortunately, the Green Party does not have a concise process. It is something different for every state.
Yeah, I know in Indiana we're going to use ranked choice voting to pick our candidate, and then we'll take it to national. And I think the national is doing it like that, but don't quote me because I thought, well, she's the candidate, she would know.
Well, it's not that. It's just that every state has something different. Like last night, we were even not last night, a couple nights ago, we were informed about our first delegate. Like every state does something different.
Parker, you know what? Parker, we're gonna just go in the
So
corner and sit.
actually, so actually, other countries have a different alert system. It doesn't have to be as loud. We even have silent fireworks. We are looking, if you read my disability policy, we do adjust for noise pollution in there.
See, Parker, just what you get for being smart. Now, okay. So Stanley wants to know, Jasmine, how does your Jesus figure into your campaign? Just
Yeah.
looked at your website.
So I'm an atheist, but if you are a supporter of Jesus from the Bible, he would probably want you to vote for Sherman. We are the only people talking about housing, health, and taking care of the whole person. It's the Christian thing to do. I have no scandals, no children out of wedlock, no funny business, just taking care of people. And I'm the only candidate that you can go and search my entire social media history since I'm a millennial. It's all public from when I was in high school. You can see that the content of my character has always been to provide for people.
I am not a Beyonce fan.
That is not, I'm trying to win presidency, and that's not a sentence I can even pretend I read or heard.
I
The
am
Bayhive
not.
will not come for me
You
at
can't
all.
say I won't. That's why I probably will never get elected to office. No, I'm not. She
You right.
can't sing.
Okay.
She can't.
You right. Miss Tracy, I've never said this before, but that is the first comment I think that could disqualify you from running for office. That is,
Mm-mm. No, I like real music and real singers.
Bayhive, I didn't say nothing like that. I'm just doing an
She can't.
interview.
You know, she can't hear you, right?
I know the Bayhive, young people, you said watch this program. They find people who say the wrong things about Beyonce. Did
I
you see
wish
what they
they
did to
would.
Rachel
My
Ray?
email is TRACYMedia LLC@gmail.com. I don't care. Watch me not.
Did you see what they did to Rachel Ray?
I don't care. I literally don't care. I'm like, no, you can't. I'm an '80s kid. I like anything from the before the '80s.
I like Diana Ross.
B Day is my favorite album, but I also like Four. You
B
know
Day
what,
was a good
Parker?
album. B Day
We're
was a good
not
album.
good. We were not here to discuss the Beyonce albums. Now, if we're gonna talk about artists, you bring me the King of Pop, you bring me Prince, you bring me
Everybody
oh
knows Nina Simone by far is one of the
yeah,
greatest artists we've
Nina
ever had.
Simone. You bring me that group of artists. See, I can talk, but this Beehive and Christina Aguilera. No, 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 no. Oh, and
I
I'm
like
black and I like country music. But who's the no?
everybody likes country music. Little Nas X, Chuck Berry. Country music wouldn't be country music without us. And I'm a fan of the opera. If anybody out there likes the opera, I will definitely spend time with
Now
you.
we can talk. But that Beyonce, no. I can't see paying $500 to see. I can just go on YouTube, type her name in if I want to listen to her hit a bad note, and just sit there and just watch. But like, okay,
I just want to say to the Bayhive, will y'all find this interview? I did not say those things. I
it
didn't
was
co-sign
me,
it.
TRACYMedia LLC@gmail.com. I am not scared of you. If I'm not scared of Trump, I'm sure not scared of you.
I want to be clear. I'm not scared of y'all. I revere your work and I
I'm
understand.
not saying you scared, but I'm saying I'm not scared. I'm
I
not
just want
scared.
them to know I revere. Listen, I need all the publicity I can get. Rapid growth is important. And this could be the clip.
Sometimes I feel iffy about Diana Ross because I only liked her when she was with the Supremes. But then when she went solo, I'm like, well, okay, I guess. I'm a huge Queen fan. Huge, 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 huge Queen fan. Love Queen. You're not going to disrespect Freddie Mercury. You're not going to do that.
Okay, Queen, you meant Queen the band. I was like, Queen Latifah? What Queen we talking
I
about?
like Queen Latifah too, but Queen the band, yes. Love
Got
Queen
you.
the band. So now we're gonna move on to what I really wanted to talk about was your disability platform. Again, this was the one thing that I said I've got to have her on to talk about her disability platform. One, because I haven't seen any candidate that has it that went into detail about it, talk about how you were going to pay for it. But I want to talk about You'll talk about all of those things hopefully, but I want to talk about what made you come up with that policy. What made you think, gee, this is something that we've never actually done? I mean, I know we have the Americans with Disability Act, but do we
I can,
really?
this is not a Jasmine credit. I have disabled people who work on my campaign, and they said this is enough. Disabled people are some of the most ignored people, especially now, given that disabilities are not always visible. We have allowed our lack of health care to exacerbate the situation. Something that could have been fixed with a tetanus shot has you losing your leg. We do things in this country because we neglect people and people with disabilities that make things worse. And so my staff was like, this is a big problem. It was the first policy that was written before education. The disability policy was the first thing.
And so, did you rely on that those group of individuals, or did you already have this idea coming to the table?
So I have a mobility issue myself as being a plus size person that's only 5 feet tall. So I already had my own disability woes, but I did not at the time realize how interconnected people are through disability. Disability is the one thing outside of breathing and peeing that we are all connected with. It's in every group. And in every group, the disabled people are being mistreated, maligned. I'd also like to remind you when the disabled community went to Washington, D.C. to petition for better treatment, they were literally some people carried out and arrested.
Yep, that did happen in the United States of America in the 21st century, but hey, whatever. Um, Talk about some of the specific things in your disability plan that you want to do. I think that would help the audience out a lot.
So, one of the things that we need to do is make everything ADA compliant. If you live in a place where there's not two sidewalks, two full size wheelchair usable sidewalks, then you're in a place that's not ADA compliant. That's a place where a person with disabilities who uses mobility aids would not be able to function because they either have to walk in the street or walk on the grass. And a lot of that equipment doesn't work on non flat surfaces. One of the things that we would be able to do combining our infrastructure policy with our disability policy is replace all of the sidewalks or lack thereof with kinetic plates. So not only are people having the ability to get around, they're also producing electricity, again, to help us with our environment and our public utilities bill plan. So that's part of how we're doing it. It's little things like that by making sure every doorway no longer has a lip and just a flat surface. So a person who uses a wheelchair or a scooter can get through. Making sure there's more than one elevator in a public building. That's crazy that we don't even think about travel time or convenience. Making sure that, like, if you're someone who lives in New York City and you have to use the public transportation and you're handicapped or disabled, you can't get down the stairs because the elevators are broke or the subway is flooded. If you live in a brownstone or a walk up and you broke your leg, not even someone who's permanently disabled, you have no way to get access to your home. So, like, that is one of the reasons that disability was so important. They are the most mistreated group in this country. We allow people with disabilities to be paid under the minimum wage. They're still there for all the same hours. They're still physically tired, but because we say that they're disabled, they get to make $3. People with disabilities don't have the ability to marry without restrictions. You can't have more than $2,500 in assets. These are all things that are within my disability policy. We also need to make sure, and this ties back to our education policy, because if you haven't figured it out, every single policy is linked. By acknowledging that people have disabilities, we give every child an individual education plan, which helps us provide every student with therapy, teachers, janitors, nurses, so we can provide for all of us. We destigmatize mental health, we treat people, and we make sure that people with disabilities still get the care. By providing for the most marginalized, we make a better quality living for all of us. I hope that wasn't too long winded. I'm sorry.
No, that wasn't. I was going to ask. Now, you talked a lot about the physical disabilities, but there are things like mental disabilities. Um,
which we cover
Yeah.
immediately. So we change the way the disability policy, disability structure works. Right now, you have to apply for disability, get denied, and then maybe you get approved. Going forward in a Sherman administration, when you apply for disability, you get your disability on the first request. And then we investigate, did you need it? And for people like, well, that's how scams, we're giving universal health care to people. So there's not really a bunch to scam on this anymore, right? So we're giving people that. We are treating mental illness right away. So I did mention in the education system, we're putting therapy in schools to destigmatize going to mental health care. But we provide for that within your universal health care. Multiple different types of mental health care and therapies are available. There's more, like there's dance therapy. I'm personally, as a chunky butt, not interested in dance therapy, but there's somebody who wants to do that. There's goat therapy too. Again,
And
not judging, just saying that's not for me. The point is, we have to provide for the invisible disabilities as well.
now I didn't read this in your because I read like the generals of your website. Do you talk about support animals?
Yep. Not only do we make support animals more affordable, you get them for $0 and 0 cents. I can't think of any more affordable than that. But we've also included in our program how we expand access to those dogs to get them trained because it is a lot of work.
Yeah, I
And
was
before
gonna
you
say.
ask, we do have a professional dog trainer who wrote that policy. We also, because of that policy, and again, I'm telling you, everything is linked, we have a policy around how we treat all sentient beings, including limiting corporal punishment for human children. That's no longer allowed either.
So here comes the fun part, and I kept you way longer than I thought. I did not mean to keep you this long. Two
You
things.
get 90 minutes.
Well, first of all, thank you for not asking, is that your real hair? Or did you color it? I just want to thank people for asking that. Because no, I get that question all the time. I'm like, no, this is mine. It's mine. Um, I want to talk about your fundraiser. I said I was going to ask about it, and I'm keeping my word. Um, Talk about where did you come up with the chicken dinner fundraiser? And then I'm not trying to be petty, and I don't want anybody out here to be like Tracy's so stupid. Do you wash the chicken?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So let's start there. Okay.
Because if I feel like if a person doesn't wash their chicken, I can't trust them.
So
It's like
first of all, I
I
want to point out again, the government hurts us. This is why we talk about not listening to marginalized voices. The CDC, that's the federal government, literally tells people not to wash their chicken. I'm saying we are going to update that. That's on my low list of things to do. I'm going to get that updated. We need to teach people proper food hygiene. Wash your chicken. Yes, all of the chicken is washed. So every week, our the way our travel works is we are on the road Wednesday or Thursday through Sunday. So every week it's fresh chicken, clean, fresh chicken, battered, and we go out. So when we do go out, we don't bring anything back because we feed the houseless as well. So we're not just selling chicken to earn our campaign money. We're also feeding the community. So if someone comes up to the bus and they don't have money, we feed you anyway because you're an American.
so when you thought about, gee, here's a way instead of saying, hey, corporations, you can buy me for this amount of money, you thought, gee, let me sell chicken.
I
Like,
thought let me so what I really thought was instead of me begging people for things that they don't have or can't afford to give, let me go out and earn my donations. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing most Americans do when we want something. We go out and earn it. Unlike some other politicians, I am trading one service for another. So we have a staff member who is an amazing chef, and she made this recipe for the chicken on her own. She's older than me, so it's somebody with a little more wisdom. So she came up with the flavor profile. She gave instructions on how the chicken needed to be cooked, and on our tour bus, that's how we do it. We have a full kitchen.
so you're not like you don't have a deep fryer in the You do have a deep fry. That's
Got
what I was.
a full
Okay,
kitchen, a full kitchen.
I was gonna say, dude, you're living. So your
I
travel
live on a
bus.
bus.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
your travel is it a school bus that
it's
you
a
live on?
40-foot Thomas. Yeah, we
Okay,
can.
so
So
the
we
the deep
save
fryer is
money.
somewhere in the back.
It's in the kitchen. It's in the kitchen next to the refrigerator. We got
I
full.
sit here and thought, I'm like, now she's got to send this home to with people and tell them to cook. That's what I
No,
thought.
no, this is a real restaurant. We set up real tables, we bust it down. We have for every city we go to, we have to get a health inspection, a permit, a vendor license. Like this is real work to run for president. That's why it makes me laugh when people go, "You're not really serious." That's why I am always ready to fight because of how much work goes into doing this to serve my country. Um, we're really doing this. Being in August on a hot bus, no AC, selling fried chicken. That's us. We are out here doing that real work to serve our country because they're not going to, like, they're not. One of the things that Shirley Chisholm used to say is they don't want to invite you, bring your own chair. We're not just bringing our own chair. We are doing everything to make sure that this is serious and this gets done without being bought, without having anybody's influence. This is about the American people getting what they finally deserve, not
And
Trump.
are you still listening? Like, I'm going to actually get a dinner now. Are you selling them with sides, or is it
Of course
just
they
the?
got
I'm
seasoned.
just
No, no,
asking
no. Listen,
because
I am. You don't get to be this squishy. Just the chicken is breaded, the fries are seasoned. One man in our quote said, "This is the chicken that's gonna get you to the White House." It's that good. We sell it
I'm
at
like,
strip
now
clubs. We sell it at parks. We are everywhere that there are people. Now, because I know people are like, you can't do that. We separate the signatures from the funds and the money. That happens in two different types of locations. So I'm not breaking any FEC rules. But yeah, we do.
I
We
was
sell.
like, I don't want to bring this up because it's gonna sound so silly and immature
No,
and dumb to
we
ask. But
like
I'm like, I gotta
mm-mm.
ask it. I
No, we have
gotta
a
ask the question.
full kitchen, bath.
And
Like it's like I have a full size bed. Staff has their own bunks. It's just a tour bus, and we're utilizing it for the public.
so, second to last question. I ask this question to every candidate. Talk about something you learned about yourself during this campaign that you did not know before.
I do not give myself enough credit. I didn't realize how low my self esteem was until I had to start explaining to people, no, I am smart because I've talked to all these dummies, but not just that, all of the work it took. Like, I don't know for any of your audience, fill out a Federal Election Commission form, do a quarterly report. Do you know what I'm saying? Recruit talent and still work a full time job and run a mutual aid that supports 33% of your chicken. 33% of the population. Um, for the person that says, how is selling chicken at campaign?
Parker's asking me this question because I'm like, I have never heard of somebody saying, you know how I'm gonna raise this money, sell chicken. I've heard
Because
t-shirts.
here's the
It's
thing,
not different.
politicians have no problem wasting your money.
They
It
really
is
don't.
only in real talk. It is not the millions of dollars it costs to run for president. It is $300,000 to get on all 50 states ballots. It is $200,000 to pay your staff. That is what it really costs. The difference is every state changes the rules. Some states say you can't sell t-shirts and get signatures, but no state has a problem with you getting a vendor license, paying the taxes, and earning money. I don't waste people's money. This campaign uses free stuff. Our QR code takes you to a free stuff, a website. Then you get to our website. We do things like average Americans do things. We scrimp, we save, we do what we've got to do to deliver, but we don't waste. We do not spend a bunch of money flying around. We don't waste a bunch of money on lavish dinners. We get an Airbnb if we have to, and we cook. We do things like you, the regular person, is going to do. What I want to laugh at y'all about, and I don't mean disrespect, but you have politicians that don't know what milk costs. And sometimes I don't know what milk costs, but I'm a lot closer to knowing what milk costs than they do. I know where the kitchen is in my house. Oftentimes they don't. So
Yeah.
we don't waste your money. We earn it. We pay out what we got to pay, and then we give it back to the community. That's the other thing that our campaign does. Everything over what it costs to get on that state's ballot and pay the staff goes back in terms of mutual aid to organizations on the ground already. We donate to the community. We've gotten people wheelchairs. We've paid light bills. We are already working for the communities before you even vote me in.
And final question. Um, how can people support your campaign?
Tell people about it, even if you don't like it. Just tell them how terrible I am. Bad news travels faster than good news.
That
Uh,
was a very quick answer that I thought you weren't going to give.
I mean, because like everybody knows political, like you can donate money. You can come buy some chicken. You could buy some merch. Everybody knows that there's different ways to participate, but the cheapest, most equitable way, I don't need to advertise if you're already talking about me. I don't need if you think about it, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, and how long did it take you to talk to somebody about it since you saw it? We don't need to waste money on consumerism. You just need to communicate. Now, if you want to donate, please do. But talking about me is good enough.
And Parker gets the last comment. Mitch McConnell running around his mansion looking for the kitchen every morning. See, Parker, if you weren't one of my Buy Me a Coffee supporters, see,
Parker's a writer. We need him. Parker, please join our staff, JasmineSherman.com. We could use somebody who's funny. That's hilarious.
she made the offer. You notice she didn't make me an offer, but that's okay.
I told you to run for office.
You
Till
told
you
me to
did
run for office, and I'm
until you
still
did the
not going.
Bayhive thing. Till you did the Bayhive thing.
And see, now you understand why I can't run. I'm like,
No. Listen. I just think that was a bold way to get your name out there. A bold way. If I get desperate, I might say something crazy too. I don't. Not that though. I still gotta live here. Gotta live here.
Yeah. Oh, another question. Well, I always ask, what impact has it made on your personal and professional life?
So on Juneteenth, I quit I quit my corporate job at Bank of America. Liberated myself. I thought that was pretty cool. It has not really impacted any other parts of my life because technology, like everybody's on TikTok or everybody's on social media and there's a Zoom. And so I've been running for president for the last 2 years. And the only thing that has changed is I've gotten to talk to more Americans. And that makes me more worried for the future.
Yep, and everybody so far has given a different answer. I've heard I got a divorce, we broke up, the dog doesn't get walked, but that's okay. So I want to thank everybody for joining me for this interview. I worked so hard to get this, and I'm so glad that I had Jasmine in. Visit her website, which she'll give here in just a second. Remember, everybody watching this, please share this with somebody. I am trying to grow my little bitty audience. I've been trying for 3 years, and I'm still at 136. Help me get to 1,000. I need 1,000 subscribers. It would make.
Are you on Reddit? Are you advertising on Reddit?
I don't know how to advertise. I am old.
Well, if you put a picture of breast on Reddit and say Tracy Show, you'll have more viewers. It's on.
Okay.
It's outside the box thinking. And I do want to say, because the space part did come up, when we have the technology to actually mine for minerals on asteroids, space will be something that is very, very interesting to us. However, I believe that we need to put people over profits. And if it doesn't pay out for the people, then it's not going to profit us as Americans. I didn't want them to think that I didn't care about outer space because, they told us aliens are real now.
I could say so many things about that, but I said I was going to be respectful of your time. So remember, everybody, visit Jasmine's website to learn more about her campaign. Definitely like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. I will see you all next. No, I'll actually see you all tomorrow. It won't be live. I'll do a pre-recorded the Saturday show because I have to go off about Nancy Pelosi running for office again and how ridiculous that is. So I'm going to go off about that, and we'll probably talk about best cartoons. I don't know, but definitely.
Are you guys going to talk about that new gun office that Biden opened?
No, it's just a solo show. I usually try to do like a silly topic and a fun topic, and I can go on one topic literally for an hour. And
Got-
I think I go with Nancy one.
Well, I'm
It's
gonna
gonna be,
catch the Nancy one because I look forward to hearing your thoughts on that decision that
yeah.
she made.
So I will definitely be talking about that, but that will be pre-recorded. And then we go live again on our regular time, Thursday, 7 o'clock p.m. I'll release a picture of who I'm interviewing next week. Thank you, everybody, for not leaving me out here by myself. Thank you, Jasmine, for joining me. Thank you, Parker. Thank you, Stanley. Thank you, Mac. Have a great evening, everybody. Bye bye.